But what do you make of the way he's being specific here? How much longer do you think we'll have to enjoy Alisson Becker?
I'm really not sure, to be honest, Rob, because I think injuries might play a crucial factor in all of this. Now, the past couple of seasons, he's missed quite a lot of football for a goalkeeper. So he was out for around 2 months, weren't he, last season when he got injured at Crystal Palace, and then he didn't return until December. And then he had another spell out. When did he have that spell out? Oh, yeah, he had a spell out towards the end of the season when he missed the derby and Fulham. And then before that, he missed. When did he missed the period around January time, was it, or February?
He's
Trying to think
always
which
injured.
game Kelly was in goal.
Bless
Yeah,
him.
basically he's been unfortunate with injuries, and he's had quite a couple of hamstring injuries now. So I think when he was injured midway through Klopp's final season, part of me feels like that's why Liverpool have gone and bought Mamardashvili. And then to further accentuate that was obviously this goalkeeper's performances in the Euros last year. He was part of the Georgia team that got to the knockout stage, and he played very well. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't followed his movements closely with Valencia over the past 12 months, but I've seen the odd bits and bobs where I think he saved the penalty against Real Madrid. I can't remember if it was Vinicius or Rodrigo who he saved from. But in the main, he's had decent performances, and then there's been obviously the odd clip online where it's, oh, Mamardashvili makes a mistake. But for Alisson, I think this coming season is going to be very crucial, because if he has another long spell out, then it's going to further justify plans to bring in Mamardashvili. And if you're looking at, say, Kelleher played over 20 times in the season before last, and then I'm not too sure what he played the season just gone. But if Mamardashvili is getting at least 15 to 20 games over the next 12 months, then that is obviously a clear sign that Alisson has had another setback. So he's not only playing for his future, but really he's got to stay fit if he is going to see out his time at Liverpool. And I think the fact that he's only got a year left with the club's option to extend, I think that's also going to be in their factor as well, is that although with a goalkeeper, a top class goalkeeper, they can carry on till late 30s, even early 40s, in the back of the decision makers' minds at the club, Richard Hughes and etc., they're going to be thinking, well, do we really want to commit a vast sum of money to a player who, as great as servant as he's been and is arguably the best in the world at what he does, if he's going to continue breaking down and getting injured, how much longer is this viable, and is it sustainable for our model? And is there a point where we shake hands and walk away?
Yeah, it's interesting for me, Neil, that what Alisson's graph looks like now at Liverpool. I mean, we can say it's 100% certain he's Liverpool's number one next season. We can say probably the season after, it's probably about 75, 80% certain. After that, if you're picking percentages, it was not just because of his contract situation, but it sort of falls off a cliff quite steeply, I'd say. I'd say in 3 years' time, you're probably saying it's about 10%. And I suspect that's the kind of calculation Liverpool have made in their pitch to Mamardashvili, although they may have been more, I don't know, what's more bullish in terms of, from his perspective, in terms of when he might get his come to the fore as the primary choice. What do you think? How do you think this evolves between the two keepers?
I think I'm going to be intrigued to see what Liverpool do in the first half of the season immediately after international breaks this season. I think there could end up being, I think, a club policy that if a player has gone beyond a certain mileage, they don't play that first game back. And I think that they'll apply that to the goalkeeper. I think the manager himself goes on a little journey with it at the end of last season. And I think there's a few ways in which you can make a couple of decisions that keeps Mamardashvili involved in League and Champions League games, but protects Alisson and looks after his fitness, and also just keeps the situation ticking over all the way through. So I think in the short term, I wouldn't expect, even if he was fully fit next season, for Alisson to be an ever-present in League and Champions League games. That's not to say there'll be, as I say, I think there'll be competition between the two goalkeepers. I think Mamardashvili will, from day one, have it made crystal clear to him that Alisson Becker is the first choice goalkeeper through next season. And I suspect that that'll be the situation as well the season after, as you say, Rob. From there, the other intriguing thing in the comments that Alisson's made is that he wants to go and play again in Brazil when he feels as though he's still a top goalkeeper. He He doesn't want to, one of the last things he doesn't want to do it as a retirement thing. He mentions Internazionale, which is the Brazilian team he played for until he moved to Roma. And he mentions that he would like to go back and play there again, because they ask him about all the players, and he says, well, it's worked for some of them who've gone back to Brazil. It's worked for some and not for others. But I'd like to I'd like to do it when I'm still a top goalkeeper. So I think the likely course of action really is that he leaves on a free transfer in 2027, and everyone parts ways at that point. Handshakes all round. Thank you very much. See you later on. Massive send-off in the summer of 27, but that he remains Liverpool's #1 goalkeeper until that point is, I just think, the likeliest outcome. If Liverpool got into a year-by-year thing with him, that wouldn't surprise me either. I think Martin said before about being well run. The best thing you can say about the Mamardashvili situation is that Liverpool have got moves in gears. They could load him. They could give him this season as a #2, but if he's thinking and Liverpool think it's best for him to play the year after, because they have got an eye on him, genuinely succeeding Alisson, then they could loan him out to another Premier League team, or loan him out to a top European side. It's worth pointing out Courtois does a couple of seasons at Atletico Madrid before coming back and ended up playing for Real Madrid. So I think there's loads of little bits and pieces that Liverpool can do. Atletico Madrid before coming back and playing for Chelsea, and then he moves to Real Madrid. That way around, for Courtois. So I think there's loads of bits and pieces that Liverpool can do. I just really struggle to see a situation where if Liverpool are paying Alisson Becker's wages, he is not the first choice for every game that matters. I just think that they might have a little bit of a plan this season to look after him a bit more to ensure they've got him for the games that really matter at the end of the campaign.